Part 28. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 283. From the moment Sun Dongyang decisively admitted defeat, the exchange students at the Magic University of Electronic Science and Technology finally remembered the day after they arrived here. That morning, team leader Yin Dongjian said to them sincerely, "This year, I want to have a friendly exchange with Hangcheng Elf University of Electronic Science and Technology. I want to pay attention to the student named Yang Yu. If he guessed correctly, that person is the strongest among all the exchange students from the 6 schools." The team leader had much more experience than them, and was also well known in the school's elite club. Therefore, although they had a lot of doubts in their hearts at that time, they did not ask questions and maintained a skeptical attitude, but they were still a little unhappy. Isn't this boosting others' ambitions and destroying one's own prestige? Then, in one communication game after another, they discovered that the people at Hangcheng TV University were really what the team leader Yin Dongjian said, one was more unscientific than the other. When did Nidana's collision become so awkward? Don't be afraid of intimidating the duck, just go on a 1v2 rampage and fight back. There are also the steady Kami Turtle and Yang Zhila. There are almost no flaws in the elf battle. Now, here comes another real hidden boss. Bullied the Dream Demon. I will make a Gyarados directly for you. This is almost dozens of times different in body shape. Oh my god, this is too hard to bear. Roar. Gyarados roared fiercely in the direction of the Sting Bee, and then felt the caress of the little Dream Demon above his head, and gradually calmed down. Stay, 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 sneeze. Yang Yu urgently needed to teleport to send him back to the dormitory. The water in the pool was so cold that he couldn't help but sneeze. Yeah. Dede appeared, looking at the Gyarados in the sky, and subconsciously touched the back of his head with some doubts in his eyes, but soon, seeing Yang Yu couldn't stop trembling, he felt warmth in his hands. Warm light enveloped Yang Yu's whole body. Little Dream Demon, I'm going to go back to the dormitory to change my clothes first. Do you want to go back together? We'll come back later, Yang Yu shouted to the little guy in the sky. The little Dream Demon smiled and patted the Gyarados on the head. The Gyarados immediately flew slowly in front of Yang Yu, and then listened to the little Dream Demon's next instruction. Yang Yu promises. He really doesn't recognize this Gyarados. However, except for Hangcheng TV University, everyone else stared in Yang Yu's direction. Please speak human words. Why the hell did you say no? This is obviously your Gyarados. The people's eyes are sharp, don't try to deceive us. Dada hugged Yang Yu tightly and gave Yang Yu enough warmth so that he no longer had to shiver. The next second. Teleport. The little Dream Demon stood on the head of Gyarados, pointing excitedly with one hand in the direction of exchange student Yang Yu's dormitory. Let's go. Let's go. Ho ho ho. Little Dream Demon and Gyarados didn't know any of the regulations of Jiaotong University, and their blue bodies flew up, frightening many exchange students. Even the students watching the show outside felt a sudden surge in their hearts. Later, they discovered. It turns out that Gyarados is going to follow in that trainer's footsteps. This is so cool. In the sky of Jiaotong University, the figure of Gyarados attracted the attention of countless students. Even people walking on the road stopped and looked at the blue and white elf in the sky in surprise. It's just that the people who don't know the truth are very curious about the thing on the head of Gyarados. This Gyarados, did he get his hair done? That's right, I'm talking about the little dream monster on the head of Gyarados. At this time, the little Dream Demon stood on the head of Gyarados, like a ball of black hair, with special effects added. Fortunately, the exchange student dormitory is relatively empty, otherwise it would still be crowded with so many people gathered around to watch Gyarados. Yang Yu turned on the heater in the dormitory and changed his clothes. He really didn't expect that the little dream monster was sent back by the Gyarados. The little dream monster smiled and floated down from the head of Gyarados, then slowly floated in front of Yang Yu, and floated into Yang Yu's suitcase. I found a round Pokeball. A brand new elf ball was handed into Yang Yu's hand. Yang Yu. These days, elves can already help their owners capture elves by themselves. Yang Yu was a little confused, looking at the elf ball in his hand. My mind is not as chaotic as usual. Yeah. Dada took off his hat, touched his bare head, and said, ah. Obviously, Dede didn't expect such a thing to happen. So are there two salted fish kings? Dede took out an elf ball from Yang Yu's backpack. This is the elf ball containing the salted fish king. The little dream demon floated on the head of Gyarados outside, as if telling something. Then, the Gyarados outside immediately stood in awe, straightened his body obediently, and accidentally. It seems like my head hit something. Click. Yang Yu's eyelids couldn't help but twitch. Some gravel fell from the floor. The hands holding the elf ball blankly immediately exerted their superpower, and the tricks in the magic space made the gravel instantly slow down. Yang Yu subconsciously raised his head and looked upward. There was a pit on the protruding edge of the dormitory building. I don't know why, Yang Yu felt a burst of heartache inexplicably. It was as if there was a feeling that the small amount of money was about to drain away from his pocket. Ho ho ho. This Gyarados giggled, seemed to have thought of something, and immediately became serious. In front of the elf ball held in Dede's arms. Stand still and stand at attention. The little dream demon told it that the salted fish king drawn in the dream that day was in this elf ball. This Gyarados will never forget the scene in his mind, the ferocious face that appeared in the dark sky. This is the will of the king. The elf ball in Dede's arms only flickered for a moment, and nothing else happened. Obviously, the salted fish king just hummed twice, which meant that this Gyarados recognized him. Otherwise, with the salty fish king's temper, he might break free from the Pokeball and teach this Gyarados a lesson. Evolved Gyarados. The little dream demon patted Yang Yu on the shoulder. Collect quickly. Collect quickly. If you don't want to collect it, I will collect it for you. The little dream demon picked up the elf ball in Yang Yu's hand again, pointed it at this Gyarados, and then... bang! The little dream monster successfully captured a Gyarados. The little dream demon who captured Gyarados happily floated back to Yang Yu. Na. The elf ball returned to Yang Yu's hands. Yang Yu lowered his head and looked at the elf ball in his hand that was no longer blank. Is there such an operation? The first chapter is freshly released. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 284. Yang Yu held Gyarados' elf ball in his hand, and when he was about to leave the dormitory and return to the elf battle arena, he subconsciously glanced at the broken eaves above the dormitory. Who did this? Who summoned elves randomly in the dormitory building? Do you know the dormitory management regulations? You will have to report it to the school and you will be punished. When the administrator of the exchange student dormitory saw that the Gyarados was gone, she immediately came out and put her hands on her hips downstairs, shouting at Yang who was standing in the corridor on the floor. Yang Yu couldn't help but shudder. No matter which elf university you go to, dormitory administrators are always an amazing group, just like your uncle is your uncle after all, your aunt is your aunt after all. Auntie, I was wrong. I will communicate with the person in charge of the school later. Don't forget to pay money. Yang Yu almost threw the elf ball in his hand with a tremor of his hand. Hurry up and leave this ghost place first, and then go find the person in charge of the exchange students to resolve the matter. This is not my school. If President Jin Xiaodong knew that he almost destroyed the dormitory building of Jiaotong University, I don't know what kind of expression he would show. Dedu, let's go back first, little dream demon, come on my head. Yeah. Teleport. Come back, Yang Yu is back. Exchange students from Hangzhou TV University saw that familiar figure, and Zhang Yuxuan couldn't help but shout. Yang Yu is back. Where is it? At this moment, Yang Yu, who had returned from changing his clothes, suddenly felt the attention of everyone in the audience and couldn't help but sneeze in a measured tone. Ah, tiskat. Even sneezing is so shocking. Yang Yu, are you okay? Do you want to prepare some medicine? Come on, napkin. Wenren Fang Chen and Hong Kong, one on the left and the other on the right, carried Yang Yu to his seat. It's okay. Yang Yu waved his hand to reassure his two roommates. Yang Yu, that Gyarados doesn't seem to be your elf. Why is it floating towards our temporary dormitory? What's going on? Hong Kong asked in a low voice. Your salted fish king is better than this one, is much bigger. People from other schools don't know that, but we can see it at a glance. Where is the Gyarados now? Wenren Fang Chen also asked quietly. The two of them were even more curious about this Gyarados that appeared out of nowhere. Yang Yu stretched out the elf ball in his right hand and gestured. Here now. Hong Kong and Wenren Fang Chen stared at Yang Yu's right hand and the poke ball. Then they looked at each other and were speechless for a long time. Perverted. Yeah, pervert. At this moment, Yang Yu seemed to feel a dull sage mode from the two of them, that kind of vicissitudes of life and lack of emotion, as if he had seen through the world of mortals. Wenren Fang Chen and Hong Kong seemed to have such a scene before their eyes. When the opponent finally defeated Yang Yu's first Gyarados at the cost of all 5 elves losing their combat effectiveness. At this time when tears should have been celebrated, Yang Yu took out one from his pocket. Bigger baby. A thicker and bigger salted fish king. Opponent, I choose the dog leash. This is even more devastating than being pushed by a single Gyarados. Isn't it really fun to play? It seems that few people would capture the same 2 elves. Wenren Fang Chen said quietly, feeling a little painful in his heart. Yeah. Hong Kong also sighed faintly, and the two of them sang and started to have a lemon game together. Yang Yu said quietly from the side, one is for physical moves, and one is for special moves. Learn both. If you meet someone with physical defense, use Salted Fish King, and if you meet someone with excellent special defense, use Gyarados No 1. Wenren Fang Chen and Hong Kong suddenly choked. Please. Say something humane. The division of labor is so clear, leave us a way to survive. Now he actually gave Gyarados a number? Could it be that there are Gyarados 2, Gyarados 3, Gyarados? Wenren Fang Chen and Hong Kong started to get confused. I have never seen such a complete team of elves. The picture originally imagined in my mind changed. The opponent comes to power. Yang Yu, in my hand, there are a total of 6 elf balls, so there are 6 Gyarados here. Which one do you choose as your first opponent? Opponent? No, I have to find the electric elf. Wenren Fang Chen felt dizzy when he thought of that scene. Although he still doesn't know what kind of elf Yang Yu will capture later, but his electric elf, the elf, must be on the agenda. Hey, we are roommates, are you targeting this? Yang Yu smiled angrily. Just because we are roommates, that's why we have to punish you. Hong Kong lightly punched Yang Yu on the shoulder, and then moved closer to Wenren Fang Chen, as if forming a small circle, but his voice could still be heard. Let Yang Yu hear it. Lao Wen, is there anything more powerful about the electric elf? Thunderman, after it evolves, it becomes Thunderman, a very strong electric elf. I also recommend Pikachu, the evolved Raichu is also very strong, Magnemite is also good, and the rare electric monster is also difficult to evolve. Melee Sheep. Yang Yu helped his forehead. Hey, this is the rhythm of becoming a big devil, even my roommate wants to kill me. Sneeze. After experiencing this battle and seeing Yang Yu's Gyarados, the exchange student leaders from other schools immediately sent Yang Yu's information back to the school. What? A freshman at Hangcheng Radio and Television University actually has a Gyarados. What? Not only is there a Gyarados, but the ghost-type elf Incubus is also very powerful in combat. What to do, our freshmen this year? For a time, major schools felt like they were facing a formidable enemy, because the time until the national competition next spring was getting shorter and shorter. This is just a freshman. The person who knows the most complete information is Yin Dongjian from the Shanghai TV University, because he also knows that in addition to Gyarados and Dream Demon, Yang Yu also has the most incredible elf, King Slow. This Slow King usually holds a golden basin. This elf is so cunning that it makes people think it is really a basin. After all, who has seen a golden Slow King? If you don't see it with your own eyes, no one will believe it. More importantly, this Slow King always uses teleportation every time it appears. Who can see this clearly? However, Yin Dongjian thought he had guessed everything, but he never thought that Yang Yu had a salty fish king that was even more terrifying than Gyarados #1. The exchange student matter has also come to an end. Compensation for exchange student dormitories at Shito. In the end, Jiaotong University paid for it, which made the sick Yang Yu feel much better. After all, he didn't have to pay a small amount of money himself. There is still a lot of warmth in this world. It's a pity that this time I can't go to the headquarters of the Magic City Elf Alliance, as well as the Super Tower and Ghost Tower. Ah. Yang Yu shrank his neck and hid in Dudu's arms. The warm air conditioner of the school bus was blowing on the return trip, and Yang Yu looked out the window at the scenery of the magical city that was getting further away. The next time I come, I don't know if there will be any exchange student activities at Fudan. Yang Yu tightly clutched the Elf Move Award for Outstanding Exchange Students from Jiaotong University in his hand and closed his eyes heavily. Purple Epic. Sleep. Keep going. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 285. Are you here to help Yang Yu make food again? Yeah. There is braised fish today. Do you want one? Yeah. He licked his saliva, then started counting on his fingers, clicking 4 times in total. Want 4 braised fish? Yeah. He nodded his head blankly. Yang Yu, Dede, Salted Fish King, Gyarados #1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 braised fish, that's right. In the main cafeteria of Hangcheng Elf University of Electronic Science and Technology, Dede has become the most popular regular here. He is very polite, very cute, and very warm-hearted. When waiting in line with the students, he was not in a hurry or anxious. If someone greeted him, he would respond. The ant in the cafeteria especially likes her silly and sweet smile. Every time she takes dishes, her hands don't shake anymore. She makes a steady batch and even wants to give a few more spoons. Seeing that the ant in the cafeteria was asking for another spoonful, she waved her hands blankly. Enough, 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 I can't hold it anymore. Yang Yu's illness is still not cured, and he even has a fever. On a cold day, the quilt suddenly fell into the pool and was blown by the cold wind for a while. Even Yang Yu's physique couldn't bear it. Dede became Yang Yu's exclusive nanny. 1 minute before class, he teleported Yang Yu to the classroom and would never be late. When the bell rang, he took Yang Yu to the next classroom or directly back to the dormitory. When it was time to eat, you can see the dazed figure in the main cafeteria. Some students may not know whose dumb king this is, but over time, the whole school knows that Yang Yu has such a dumb king who will bring food to Yang Yu, Order food, swipe credit cards to pay, and enter passwords. This is simply a large gathering of lemon essences. When Day steadily picked up all the meals, he suddenly flashed and teleported and disappeared at the ordering window of the main cafeteria. Very sour. I don't know why, but I feel sad just looking at it. Someone else's elf. At this moment, I don't know how many students turned their heads and stared at their own elves. The elves, who had almost forgotten to eat, took big spoons and spoons into their mouths, showing no signs of civilization at all. These little elves looked innocent and looked like big white rice at the corners of their mouths. They instantly formed a strong contrast with the slow king. Why do I feel the urge to cry for a moment? I really want that fat, stupid king, it's so warm. Ah, I really want to hug him. If there is no king slow, can you think of me? A boy answered secretly. Get out of here. I don't know how many students are thinking about finding an opportunity to catch a slowpoke. They even created a slowpoke club in the school and wanted to find Yang Yu as the honorary president of the club. The slowpoke club united the whole school to have a slowpoke. Students will go to a certain valley to evolve together in a certain season and day in the future. Of course, this is something. Now, Day has returned to the dormitory with a full lunchbox. The heating and air conditioning was still on in the dormitory, and Yang Yu's wrapped himself tightly in a quilt, lying on the bed as if he was paralyzed. Growling, grrrrrrrr. It's time to eat. Dada held a small table and set it up on Yang Yu's bed, then carefully placed each dish on it smoothly, and used his superpower to separate the full vegetable soup that was about to be poured out into a special bowl. Inside. Grrrrrrrr. Yang Yu opened his mouth. A rice ball was stuffed into Yang Yu's mouth. This is one of the little dream monster's favorite things to do. Roll the white rice into balls, just the right size, so that Yang Yu can take a small rice ball in one bite without choking. One bite of meat dish, one bite of vegetarian dish, all the fish bones in the braised fish were removed by Dudu's superpower, so Yang Yu didn't have to worry about getting fish bones when eating fish. This is the warm daily life of a fever patient. Dada is back. Ah, I'm envious, envious, envious. Wenren Fangchen and Hong Kong had just returned from the cafeteria at this time. Every day they would see the sick Yang Yu enjoying king-level treatment in the dormitory. They were so envious. Quack quack quack. Kodak Duck held his head and came closer to see what kind of dishes were available today, and found that there was actually a whole braised fish. This made Kodak Duck stare at it for a long time. Canada, here you go. Yang Yu smiled and indicated that there was still half of the braised fish, and he had almost eaten it. Quack quack quack. Kodak happily hugged the half-braised fish, picked up the fish head, and swallowed it in one gulp. Hong Kong took out 2 paper towels from the table, wiped KK's hands, and said with a smile, "You will make KK fat?" The ant in the cafeteria is too partial. She used her hands when serving us food. Shaking is terrible, half a spoonful of food is gone after shaking. Ha ha ha, yes, yes. Wenren Fangchen looked at the seemingly full plate of dishes in front of Yang Yu. It hurts my heart, it hurts my heart. Dumb, go to the arena, Salted Fish King and Gyarados #1 are still there. Yang Yu shrank his neck and smiled. Yeah. The little dream demon floated on Dudu's shoulder, and it also wanted to go find the little fish to play. He nodded blankly, and immediately teleported to the arena with the little dream monster, taking 3 braised fish that had not been touched yet. Roar. Ho ho ho. At this time, Salted Fish King and Gyarados #1 in the arena saw the figures of Day and Little Dream Demon. Gyarados #1 is now the #1 pawn under the Dream King's throne, and the Salty Fish King's younger brother No One. After all, the rich aura possessed by the Salted Fish King is what Gyarados one needs to admire. This is the real king. Dede secretly winked at Salty Fish King and Gyarados number 1. The Salted Fish King and Gyarados number 1 understood immediately. It's time to eat fish. It's time to eat fish. Although the portion of fish is not big, the fish tastes very good every time. Some are braised in braised sauce, some are in sour soup, some have the flavor of vine pepper and chopped pepper, etc. For them, eating just like this is not enough. Just one fish and then slowly savoring it are enough. When two Gyarados, one big and one small, secretly hid in a corner of the arena pool, Dada secretly opened the lunchbox of the braised fish without letting the little fish see it. Yeah. Salty Fish King and Gyarados number 1 were a little excited. At this moment, the little fish swam over secretly with its lips pursed. With a blank look, he immediately stuffed one into Salty Fish King and Gyarados number 1, and then he opened his mouth wide and ate one too. Huja huja huji. The little fish stared at the small half of the fish tail exposed from the corner of the Salted Fish King's mouth. Gyarados number 1 immediately pointed at the corner of the king's mouth with his beard. The Salted Fish King blinked blankly, and his beard immediately moved. Ho ho ho, nothing happened just now. Ho ho ho. Gyarados number 1, I didn't see anything. Keep going. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Shao. Chapter 286. Principal Jin Xiaodong also heard about what happened during the exchange student period at Jiaotong University. Kang Henan, vice president of the School Elite Alliance and leader of the exchange student team, gave a detailed report, including the danger prediction of Yin Dongjian of the Magic City TV University, the elf poison skull frog, and Yang Yu's ghost tide. Finally, the appearance of the Salted Fish King made the exchange students in the entire Magic University of Radio and TV University cry out of fear even if they didn't want to cry. This is really. Principal Jin Xiaodong wiped his glasses with a lens cloth, but for a while he couldn't think of any words. Anyway, have a good laugh. 2 words, relieve your anger. The talent of predicting danger. The Magic University of Electronic Science and Technology has chosen a good team leader, but the students in our team are stronger. Kang Henan, thank you for your hard work this time, the principal nodded and signaled to report. It was almost done. After Kang Henan left the office, Principal Jin Xiaodong's eyebrows became a little more joyful. Jin Xiaodong stood up from his seat, put his hands on the railing, looked at the campus outside the window, and frowned slightly, as if he thought of some unfriendly scenes. Tisk, 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 old guy, you actually said that I gave out little cards randomly. Am I the kind of person who gives out little cards randomly? Principal Jin Xiaodong thought of Shi Dingmo who hurriedly came from the Demon City in the middle of the night that night, and his eyelids couldn't help but twitch again. Ghost Tide, I don't know what benefits that old guy will give Yang Yu. After so many days, it's impossible to find Yang Yu who has activated the little magic card, right? Snapped. I'm furious. Quick, 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 go find Mr. Zi, Mr. Mo is angry again. In the headquarters of the Demon City Elf Alliance, Shi Dingmo was in a very bad mood. He has never seen. I have seen, such a passive trainer. Would you die if you came to the headquarters of the Magic City Elf Alliance? Why don't the elves move instantly? They moved here instantly. If you don't know the way, just search online. Shi Dingmo thought that the little bastard would come over the next day with a dream-eating move learning machine. After all, the dream-eating move must be paired with hypnosis to be effective. Every trainer knows how to attack. The results of it? After waiting for more than half a month, Shi Dingmo told himself that today, that little bastard will definitely come today. If he doesn't come today, he won't give Meng Meng Arrow anything to eat today. However, at night, there was still no one around. Poor big pink sausage Meng Meng Eclipse didn't see the shadow of the energy cube at night, so he could only secretly open Shi Dingmo's inventory and take a few bites carefully. Don't eat too much. If you eat too much, you will be discovered. Eat a little every time, and eat a little secretly, so that you can have a long history. Now, Shi Dingmo was impatient to go around and ask about the exchange students. As a result, Jiaotong University reported back that they had returned to Hangzhou for several days. How could this make him, an old man who had been waiting so hard, feel so embarrassed? The little bastard, is indeed a bastard. Old Shitu, why are you angry because you didn't wait for anyone? Majinza strode over with a smile. I'm not angry. Which of your eyes saw me being angry? Shi Dingmo rolled his eyes, he doesn't want to learn. Come on, I'm not happy about it. Of course old Zi knew who the he Shi Dingmo was talking about was referring to. He smiled and waved his hands. Oh, old man Shi, he is seriously ill, so isn't it normal that he can't come? Are you sick? What kind of illness is it? Is it serious? Shi Dingmo immediately grabbed the old man Zi's arm with great strength. Stop, stop, stop. Majinza looked at old man Shi's reaction and shook her head helplessly. This old boy, oh, he said no, but his reaction was so sincere. I accidentally fell into the water during the battle between elves. It's okay, it's just a fever, don't be so nervous, don't worry, it's nothing serious. That's good, that's good. Okay, okay, don't be so bad-tempered all day long. By the way, you may not know that there is a big event at Jiaotong University. The video of a certain elf duel during the exchange student period was released, and it was a relatively remote place. Surveillance video found in the camera. Although Majinza's tone was serious, her face was still full of smiles. Old Shi, who knew Majinza's temper, was in a good mood. This matter must be related to Yang Yu, and it was a good thing. Tell me, what's the big deal? You'll know when you come and watch the video yourself. A few minutes later. This Gyarados evolved on its own in the Jiaotong University pond. This is not Yang Yu's Gyarados, so what's going on with this Gyarados? Shi Dingmo has never seen anything like this. This Gyarados is now Yang Yu's little elf. Majinza's face was a little strange. She looked at the old man Shi Dingmo's uncertain face, then his brows lit up with joy, and he looked happy. Okay. 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 The little bastard is indeed a little bastard. Jin Xiaodong, the president of Hangcheng Elf University of Electronic Science and Technology, also soon received an encrypted email from the president of Jiaotong University. In the email, there was a video of an elf battle. Principal Jin Xiaodong only glanced at it, and his heart immediately became awe-inspiring, because the Gyarados in this video evolved in the pond of Jiaotong University. What does that mean? When Jin Xiaodong continued to scroll down, there was another document at the end of the email. President Jin Xiaodong could not help but twitch the corners of his mouth as he watched. If this was not an encrypted email sent personally by the president of Jiaotong University and also had an electronic signature, he would have thought someone was teasing him. The Jiaotong University campus river, a carp king in it evolved. After evolving, he was captured by Yang Yu from our school. Jin Xiaodong blinked, stretched out a finger, and then stretched out another finger, unable to keep up with his brain circuit. In other words, Yang Yu now has two salted fish kings. You actually came to me to ask for mental damages. Go on, you are the president of Jiaotong University. Do you still need this mental damages? Jin Xiaodong smiled brightly, although he didn't react for a while. But isn't it just a mental damage fee? No, 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 no. I almost forgot about the ghost tide. The benefits of the ghost tide to Jiaotong University are so great. Are Yang Yu here? Doesn't he come from Jiaotong University? Is there a Gyarados there, and it has the audacity to come to my place and ask for mental damages? Jin Xiaodong's eyes shone with shrewdness. As expected of the principal of a school, He is so thick-skinned. While Jin Xiaodong was touching his chin, he suddenly seemed to think of something. His movements were like sculptures. Ahem, cough, slip of the tongue. Who did? Teleport, let's go to the arena. Like an ad soup one. Pokemon's character master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 287. Under the careful care of Dede and Little Dream Demon, Yang Yu's illness was almost cured. After returning to his school, he felt a lot less restrained. Now Yang Yu can take the Salted Fish King out for shopping. However, compared to shopping, the Salted Fish King seems to prefer flying around in the sky with Yang Yu. Arena. Although Yang Yu has been sick these days, he is not just resting in a daze under the quilt. He searched for relevant videos on the internet about elf tail attack because Yang Yu came up with an idea during his exchange student period at Jiaotong University. The main source of this idea was during the first battle of Little Dream Demon. In the match against the Charging Bear, although the collision of the Charging Bear did not have any impact on the Little Dream Demon, under the subsequent tail attack, the sudden dust still affected the Little Dream Demon. Wagging tail. It wags its tail cutely from side to trick the opponent into being careless, thus lowering the opponent's defense. Source, Elf Calendar, October 9, 2019, 19 hours 58 minutes and 36 seconds, obtained from Radita in the arena of Elf University of Electronic Science and Technology of Hangzhou. Properties, General. Category, Change. Power. Hits, 100. Note, all elves can learn it as long as they put their mind to it. That wagging tail back then. Yang Yu won the heart of the Little Dream Demon in the Pearl Forest, which played an extremely crucial role in conquering the Little Dream Demon. Think about singing again. Yang Yu felt that no matter how bad his teaching was this time, he wouldn't be able to perform a move like twisting the butt that makes people think so much, right? Of course, the premise is other people's question marks cannot hit you. Moreover, the move of wagging the tail has an important explanation, wagging the tail from side to side cutely. Is Gyarado's tail cute? Isn't it cute? This is called wagging the tail ferociously from side to side. Salted Fish King, Gyarado's number 1, now let's learn the move of wagging the tail. The Salted Fish King's eyes fell into a long silence. He vaguely remembered it in his mind, as if a long, long time ago, during the Magi Carp period. Yang Yu originally said that he wanted to teach him to sing. Although the singing is a bit unpleasant, but after experiencing it along the way, this trick of noise is indispensable. Now that I think about it, it still sounds awful. The Salted Fish King regained consciousness for a moment, and began to comfort himself. Learning wagging his tail is better than learning singing, right? When I first learned to sing, I wished my ears were deaf. Gyarado's number 1 nodded very seriously, held his head high, looked at the Little Dream Demon who was clapping his hands, ahem, and his posture became even more upright. Be good. But what Gyarado's number 1 doesn't understand is why there is a trace of sympathy and a trace of compassion in the eyes of the Salty Fish King boss next to him. Master teaches the moves himself, shouldn't it be? Isn't this an honor? However, the next second, Gyarado's number 1 looked at Yang Yu's next action and understood in a daze. The Salted Fish King felt like he was going blind. Dede had secretly turned around, hugged his big eyes, and then looked at the little dream monster next to him who was whimpering excitedly. Children are not allowed to watch. Little Dream Demon loves this program the most. Yang Yu's tail wagging, started. Salted Fish King? Gyarado's no one. On the stage of the arena, Principal Jin Xiaodong no longer knew what to say. He watched helplessly as Yang Yu in the arena actually performed such shameful actions. Please take it personally, thank you. This is the thickest person. Principal Jin Xiaodong sighed quietly. Who was beside him, had turned his head early. With his ability, he could clearly see what the people on the field were doing at a glance. However, he felt that he was blind after just one glance. When Hu Di heard Principal Jin Zayadong's sigh, he gave an extremely rare nod. Under normal circumstances, he basically never responded to what Principal Jin Zhaodong said. Except this time. Why are there people who are thicker-skinned than Kirby? I'm old, I can't twist my waist. Principal Jin Zhaodong decisively asked Hu Di to take him away from this place of right and wrong, for fear that he would lose control later and let Hu Di directly destroy his spirit. Hu Di quickly fled with the principal. By the way, he never wanted to see such a person again. I have been teaching very carefully. Yang Yu felt that he was really great and that he really worked hard. In order to make this tale more realistic, Yang Yu even asked Hong Kong to borrow a duck's swimming ring. Just put it on yourself. Just think of it as the wagging tail of a duck. Anyway, just shake it up. However, when Yang Yu turned around to look at the performance of the two students behind him, his face darkened. Wag your tail, and wag it all for me. The Salted Fish King said he didn't want to talk to Yang Yu, so he lowered his head and bit Yang Yu's collar and threw it behind him. Yang Yu. Seeing the Salted Fish King about to start up, Dada's eyes immediately lit up, and he teleported to the exclusive seat behind the Salted Fish King and hugged him tightly. The Little Dream Demon also has his own mount. The Little Dream Demon floated and floated on the head of Gyarados number 1, who was much shorter than the Salted Fish King. He hugged his horns tightly at his blue triangle and stood firm. Hey, King Salted Fish, what do you want to do? Yang Yu panicked. He had just recovered from a fever and didn't want to get into the water again. Ho ho ho. The Salted Fish King hummed. Master, don't you want to teach us how to wag our tails? Of course. Shake it for you. Ho ho ho. The Salted Fish King signaled Gyarados 1 to leave the pool first, and Gyarados 1 immediately flew away from the surface of the pool carrying the only first-class customer, Little Dream Demon. Watch and study hard. Huji. The little fish jumped up from the water, and Dudu immediately held up his hat and caught the little fish steadily. All customers of the Salted Fish King have boarded the plane. Wag your tail, wag your tail. The Salted Fish King immediately spun around in the pool, using the flexibility and inertia of his body to slam towards the pool in front of him. Wow! The Salted Fish King's tail is like a long water-cutting knife, it slices the water surface mercilessly diagonally. This is the tail of the water column. Roar! Except for the tail of the water column, wagging the tail. Of course it's going to take off. The whole body of the Salted Fish King began to carry Yang Yu and Dudu in the air, dancing a mysterious dance of the dragon type, dancing faster and faster, and his tail seemed to be in time with the rhythm of the drum, forming moves. Dance of Dragons. Ho ho ho. Gyarados number 1 is standing aside. Shout to me 666. In his eyes, sparkled with extremely sincere reverence. Wagging tail? No. This is a divine dragon, wagging its tail. Like and add to, please vote for me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 288. There is still a lot that Gyarados number 1 needs to learn. The ascension of the Salted Fish King contained the meaning of the dance of the dragon. Every time he swung his tail in the air, his strong body made the scales all over his body tighter. The tail that struck him instantly was like breaking through the air. The long whip that comes and the dragon wagging its tail are nothing more than this. Since then, Yang Yu has never thought about teaching Salty Fish King and Gyarados number 1 to wag their tails. This wagging tail. It's really easy to be blind. Still wearing an ordinary outfit, Yang Yu raised his head and glanced at the familiar sign above. Wenjiao Road Ferry Daycare Center. Here, there are many memories of Yang Yu. Although I moved, the distance from my home to the Wenjiao Road Elf Nursery was just a change of direction, and the distance was not very far. Yang Yu returned home and found that Yang Xiao was not there. At the same time, Larula's was not there either. The name Wenjiao Road Elf Trust quickly appeared in Yang Yu's mind. It should be here. The little dream demon lay on Yang Yu's head, squinting and resting all the way. When she noticed that Yang Yu had stopped for a long time, she immediately blinked, rubbed her eyes, and looked at the signboard with Yang Yu. Yang Yu walked in. A familiar smell that hid his face, a place he hadn't seen for a long time, could still evoke the thoughts hidden in Yang Yu's mind. At this time, the flow of people in the Elf Care Center is average, neither too many nor too few. People coming and going are surrounded by elves walking together, so it doesn't seem particularly crowded. Karakara. Karakara. A bouncing light brown elf held a bone in his hand and seemed to direct the direction of several moving figures. Karakara. Karakala jumped up and down, jumped onto a pile of high sheets, and made gestures with his bones at the elf holding a pile of sheets. Abby Abby. Every once in a while, some elves in the Elf Care Center will put on a clean and tidy bed sheet, and then gather the replaced sheets for a cleaning. Abby Lang. Yang Yu saw the two elves with big red fists at a glance. As Yang Yu's old friends at the Elf Care Center, it was hard to recognize them. Abby. Abby Lang, who was holding the sheets, was attracted by the familiar voice. He turned his head and looked in the direction of Yang Yu. It seems a little different from what I imagined. But soon, Abby Lang discovered the source of this strange feeling. A ghostly dream monster. Karakara. Karakala, who was standing on the sheets, poked Abby Lang's face with a bone stick, then turned sideways and looked in the direction of Abby Lang's gaze. Kara. Karakala's face was suddenly full of horror. Abby Lang immediately hugged these sheets and ran towards Yang Yu's direction. The sudden action caused the Karakara on the sheets to lose his balance, and almost flew towards Yang Yu's direction. Forward. Yang Yu saw the little thing that came with Abby Lang, but the little thing came by flying. Yang Yu stretched out his hand and caught the poor little thing firmly. Karakara. The little thing that flew into Yang Yu's arms immediately picked up the bone stick and jumped up, trying to hit the hateful Abby Lang's knees, but the oncoming sheets wrapped Karakala tightly again. The attack fails. Let me do it. Yang Yu seemed to have returned to the time when he was here before. Holding the bed sheets was nothing more than a relaxing thing. However, when the poor little thing was dragged up from the edge of the bed sheet, his face was full of anger, and he stretched out his bones towards Abby Lang and made a strong protest. Abby Lang rolled his eyes, took a big red fist like a big casserole, and lightly knocked on Karakala's head. The protest was ineffective. Karakala lost his ability to fight. Hey, poor little thing. Yang Yu silently mourned Karakala for 3 seconds, then helped Abby Lang take most of the sheets and the Karakala who was lying on the sheets as if thinking about life, and entered the elf together. Area. The little dream monster looked at the crying Karakara with a smile. The little thing was sitting on the bed sheet with a bone in its hand, and there were a few tears shining in the eyes exposed by the skull. Karakara. When I grow up I will definitely jump on your knees. Looks handsome. It was just that the little dream demon suddenly made a face while squinting his eyes. Karakala was so frightened that he immediately shrank up, buried his head in the sheets and shivered. There are so many new caregivers in the Elf Trust, Yang Yu said with a smile. He could see some young-looking high school students, just like Yang Yu in the past, working as temporary workers in the Elf Care Center. Here you can come into contact with many elves that you would not normally come into contact with, and you can also gain experience in getting along with elves, which will be of great benefit to your future career as a trainer. Abby. Abby. Abby Lang. Abby Lang, this way, the sheets need to be changed over here. Hey, hello. A high school student who looked slightly younger than Yang Yu looked more or less averting his eyes when he saw that Yang Yu was carrying a school bag and did not look like a caregiver here. Don't be nervous, I used to be a temporary worker here, and this Abby Lang can testify for me. Yang Yu smiled, such a familiar feeling. From the behavior of the little boy in front of him, he seemed to have seen the former own. He had reacted this way before. At the elf nursery, it's like watching the growth of generation after generation of caregivers. Abby. Abby Lang smiled and nodded. At this moment, the barrier between him and this little boy immediately disappeared. The reserved expression on his face began to look normal. Abby Lang, the sheets I changed here are for you. A slightly busy but very familiar voice to Yang Yu appeared in the elf area. This made Yang Yu's eyes tremble slightly. From before the exchange students started, until now. During this period, apart from a few phone calls, we didn't see each other much. Haven't seen you for a long time. Lalu. Yang Yu could see a pile of sheets that looked like they had legs, moving over from the door, and a very pleasant sound. Larulas walked out holding a sheet that was taller than himself. Behind Larulas, there were even floating sheets, claws and fangs in the air. It seems familiar. Just like those scary ghosts seen in the haunted house. Xiao Yu. Brother. Have a meal and keep going. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 289. The little dream demon almost immediately discovered the pile of sheets on the ground that was swaying from side to side as if it was difficult to maintain balance, because the ethereal and pleasant sound it just heard came from this direction. Attract lovely. Ying. Of course it's just cute. However, the little dream monster is the most adorable, so no refutation is allowed. The little dream demon floated towards the ball of sheets with a smile on her face, but what was the ball-like sheet floating in the air for? Lowering the cuteness average? Snort. Brother, come on, let's change the elf's sheets first. Yang Xiao waved his hand excitedly. Come on, Yang Yu grinned and sent the clean sheets in his hand to the elf's accommodation area. Abby Lang, these are for you, take them to wash first. Yang Xiao handed the sheets he wanted to change to Abby Lang and took the clean pile at the same time. Brother, wait for me. Lalu. Larulas held the sheets and weighed his little feet. Abby Lang knelt down on one knee, took the pile of sheets from Larulas's arms, and then stretched out his big fist. Larulas pointed little hands and big fists touched together lightly. Happy cooperation. Jajaja. A certain pile of sheets flying in the sky seemed to be a little abnormal again. It started flying left and right in the air to scare others. Larulas put his hands on his hips. Forward. The stack of sheets immediately stopped all movements, flew back dejectedly, and then handed all the sheets to Abby Lang. When the ghostly elf behind the sheets reveals his full face, a big spherical ghost-type elf appeared. This ghost looks a bit fat. Goes followed Larulas obediently and walked towards the interior of the elf area. The little dream demon quickly floated to Larulas's side, curiously looking at the little elf in front of him with a full body like a skirt. He looked very cute. Larulas looked at this ghost-type elf, who was about the same height as her, with some confusion, and felt a little unfamiliar. However, she felt that the voice of a certain fat ball elf behind her became a little strange. Hey. Snapped. Ghost lost his fighting ability. This big fat ball was flying around in the air like a deflated rubber ball. The little dream demon blinked. Start clapping slowly. Ghost. Brother, this little dream demon is your elf. It's so cute. After Yang Xiao and the elves in the elf house made a bed together, he saw the dream demon walking back with Larulus. Demon, love soon overflowed. A little naughty ghost, Yang Yu smiled and shook his head. He saw the little dream monster immediately fly to his hair, with an angry and unhappy expression. Yang Yu immediately added, yes, yes, our little dream monster is so cute. When Yang Yu's eyes saw a black balloon slowly floating behind Larula's, he was stunned and subconsciously asked, Xiao Yu, why has this ghost become so fat? Gai Sai's eyes are full of tears, Gai Sai's life is miserable. It? Yang Xiao seemed to have thought of something interesting, covered his mouth, and then said with a smile, brother, every time it wants to get close to Larula's, it fails every time, and then when it fails, my face would be swollen for a long time, so I turned my grief and anger into appetite. Most of the energy cubes have been fed to Ghost. Yang Xiao added with a smile. No wonder, no wonder. When the Ghost floats in the sky like this, it's like the sun is having a total solar eclipse. This size is much larger than the average Ghost. This looks very familiar, like Salted Fish King? Hey, it would be great if Larula's could grow up as quickly as Gaisai. Yang Xiao bent down and picked up little Lalu and held her in his arms, but, brother, now Larula's my superpowers are much stronger than before. That's a good thing. Everything is developing in a good direction, Yang Yu said with a smile. Well, but I have to thank Gaisai, otherwise Larula's superpowers wouldn't be able to recover so quickly. Yang Xiao hugged Larula's, and Larula's took a corner of the bed sheet, and together they completed a picture bed making work. Jajaja. Gaisai really wanted to hug the sheets and cry for a while. It's not easy to be a ghost these days. The little dream demon greeted Yang Yu. It also wants to be like Larula's, helping. Yang Yu looked at the little guy in his arms who was begging for a corner of the sheet, and nodded with a smile. The little dream monster wants to learn from Larula's. After Yang Yu took the little dream demon to make a bed, he let go of the little guy and gestured in the direction of Larula's. Let's meet new friends. You can make the bed with Larula's. The little dream demon nodded excitedly. He took the initiative to reach out and pull Larula's together, and started running with Larula's. Laru. Larula's was stunned, but soon a smile appeared on her face. She liked the smell of the little dream demon very much, and the little dream demon was about the same height as her. More importantly, the little dream monster is so cute. Gaisai looked at Larula's holding the hand of the little ghost dream monster, and Gaisai, who was a single dog with a fat ball, suddenly felt guilty. Gaisai could only comfort himself like this. That little dream monster is female. 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 Yang Yu and Yang Xiao looked at this lonely ghost and couldn't help but smile at each other. Why? Yang Yu reached out and took out a box of high-quality energy cubes from his pocket and handed it to Gaisai's eyes. Weak, helpless, fat, and very good at eating. Turn grief and anger into appetite. Eat, eat, eat. Yang Yu looked at the eating appearance of this ghost and was secretly surprised. This eating appearance might be comparable to the original Salted Fish King. If such a fat spherical ghost evolves, what kind of amazing performance will there be? Brother, we haven't seen each other for so long. How are Gyarados and Slow King doing now? Has Little Fish grown up? Little Fish will become the magical elf of Minas in the future. Yang Xiao, the voice is full of expectations. Stay. Yeah. When Dudu came out, he saw Yang Xiao standing next to Yang Yu. He immediately opened his mouth and smiled, then tilted his hat and lowered his head in a very gentlemanly greeting. Wow, dumb king. Yeah. Xiao Yu, now your brother and I have more than just one Salted Fish King. Yang Yu took a deep breath, and then held two elf balls in his left and right hands at the same time. Brother, what kind of elf did you capture? Yang Xiao couldn't help but ask. This one is the Salted Fish King, this one is Gyarados no one. There was a little pride between Yang Yu's brows. This is a shyness that can only be shown in front of Yang Xiao. Didn't expect it? Huh? Two big Gyarados. A new journey is about to begin again. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 290. Gilug Gilug Gilug. Yang Yu came back this time and brought Moo milk from the Elf Alliance in Hangzhong. At the same time, he also prepared a shadow clone move learning machine for Xiao Yu. For Larylus and Ghost, who drank Moo milk for the first time, this was undoubtedly the purest delicacy in the elf world. Especially when Larylus, who is almost completely white now, is holding the glass jar of Moo milk and drinking the milk through a straw, the transparent glass jar. The milk is reducing little by little, and the look on Larylus's face when a happy smile appears, it is probably one of the most beautiful scenes in the elf world. Laru. The little dream monster on the side drank, and her belly swelled again, but at this time, Yang Yu no longer deliberately talked about the little dream monster. In the battle against Melee Sheep, the little dream demon used the breath it sucked into her stomach to swell her belly to avoid the attack of the electric ball. Is there such an operation? Weekends are always short. As soon as you close your eyes, open your eyes, or wake up, you can easily lose an entire morning. This is usually the case during holidays. Yang Xiao will go back to school soon. Brother, are you going to compete in the National College Student Elite Trainer competition soon? Yang Xiao asked curiously. That's still early, we have to start school next year. Yang Yu was a little funny and continued, why do you suddenly think of asking this? It's nothing, it's just that time flies by so fast, and the new year will be here in a few weeks. Yang Xiao wiped the corners of Laryula's mouth and hugged him. After the new year, my brother will play in the national competition. Don't worry, when the time comes for the competition, haha, let's release Gyarados 1 first, and then the Salted Fish King. The two will be connected together, and the opponent will be scared, Yang Yu said with a smile. Well, Gyarados is the most powerful. Yang Xiao has already packed his school bag. There are 2 cans of Moo milk here for Larylus and Gois to drink in the evening, and there are energy cubes. If it's not enough, be sure to call me and I'll give it to the school. You give. I know, brother. Yang Yu is the best. Yang Yu watched Xiao Yu leave, and the little dream demon also watched its new friend Larylus leave the room. Okay, we'll be able to see each other again during the holidays. Yang Yu rubbed the little dream monster's hair. The little dream demon immediately nodded happily. Although the national competition will not start until the beginning of the spring semester, Yang Yu knows that this journey has already entered the sequence process early. I have to find a place to retreat. This time when I returned to school, although the school also had collective training, such training was obviously not intense enough for Yang Yu. It is necessary to have a huge space that can fully display the Salty Fish King and Gyarados 1. At the same time, the environment also needs to be suitable for the growth of the little dream monster. It is not just a place like a big river, it is best to be like a pearl. It's like a forest, except that the lake in the pearl forest is a little smaller. Of course, the most important thing is safety. Dadu, let's go back to school first. Yeah. Following the fluctuation of superpower in Dede, Yang Yu and Little Dream Demon quickly disappeared into the room together with Dede. Lao Wen, do you have any ideas about this year's training camp? In dormitory 403, Hong Kong and Wenren Fangchen were discussing the arrangements for the next few days. I shouldn't be training in school anymore. I have my own arrangements at home. Wenren Fangchen thought for a while and said calmly, don't forget one more thing. We only have 2 elves now. The individual competition in the competition will not distinguish between senior and junior groups, and to qualify for the individual competition, you need at least 3 elves, otherwise there will be no chance of 3v3. I know this. Hey, that's the bad thing about being a freshman. There is too little time to grow. Hong Kong side. I'm back. Yang Yu's voice came from outside the bedroom door. Then, the bedroom door opened and Yang Yu walked in. Wenren Fangchen was about to speak, but when he thought of what Hong Kong had just said, his calm expression became a little strange. He pointed in the direction of Yang Yu and said, "Old Hong, here, look at this." Hong Kong quickly glared, "Stop pointing, this guy is not a human being." Yang Yu. "Lao Hong, I just came back. Why am I not a human being anymore?" Yang Yu was a little puzzled. "Say something human, thank you." He just said that the freshmen want to participate in the national competition. The growth time is too short, and they basically become cannon fodder when Ren Fangchen said with a smile, "And you just come back." Yang Yu looked surprised and said quickly, "I don't want to be cannon fodder, I have an idea." "What's your idea? Tell me about it." Hong Kong immediately raised his head, as if he saw the glory of the savior from Yang Yu. "It's okay if you don't sign up. Roll." Hong Kong smiled and stood up to give Yang Yu a kick. Yang Yu shrank down and hid in pretending to be scared. Not everyone is eligible to participate in the national competition. This is equivalent to the final list of entries determined by the school through layers of selection. The national competition will be faced with all the elite students from all the universities in the country. The school will naturally bring out the strongest students to compete for the best elf resources from the Elf Alliance. But for us freshmen, there is also a protective measure in the individual competition, that is, the first 3 rounds we encounter are all freshmen, and there are also a winners group and a losers group. In comparison, it is sophomores. The seniors are in a worse situation. Wenren Fangchen shrugged. "It's like leaving the novice village. There is no protection from the novice village. If you are forced to PK by a stronger opponent than you will lose," Yang Yu added. "Hey, young man, it's okay, you actually know how to play online games." Hong Kong was a little surprised and patted Yang Yu on the shoulder. After all, Yang Yu had never played that kind of large-scale online game in the dormitory. "You've never eaten pork, haven't you seen a pig running?" Yang Yu curled his lips. "Okay, I'm Zhazawai, and I love dating men. This is a new version of the ship that you have never played before. Shut up and talk. Come and chop me down if you're a brother." Yang Yu glared. It's over, I was led astray by Gao Mao. I'll chop again. Quick, spray him Q, another head, 5 kills. A fat man stared at the computer in front of him. Next to him, there was a secondary computer. A stinging jellyfish was tapping the keyboard with a strap. At the same time, there were several straps extending to the computer next to it. Help on the keyboard. Hiccup. Just behind them, Kirby was holding a lot of snacks and eating them. Click. At the same time, he didn't forget to give something to the 2 elder brothers who were playing games. 5 kills. When the computer came out with a powerful sound of ching, Gao Mao finally couldn't help but raise his hands. Stab. It seems like something is torn. Don't worry about those details. Gao Mao, why are you shouting so loudly? I'm going to train for a competition tomorrow. If I don't have some fun, I won't have a chance to play. Say Nunda. The balance of the holiday is 0. I go home from get off work and squeeze into the subway. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 291. For students at Hangcheng Elf University of Electronic Science and Technology, the winter vacation will be here in nearly a month. However, during the winter vacation in the elf world, the cold weather is often forgotten because of the fiery training. Where are you going to retreat? In the principal's office, Principal Jin Xiaodong and Yang Yu had another conversation. Kedong Province, Meteor Forest. Meteor Forest? Why would you want to go to that place? Principal Jin Xiaodong was stunned for a moment, then nodded thoughtfully. I thought it was still in Pearl Forest, but if it's training, in comparison, Meteor Forest is indeed better than Pearl Forest. At this time of year, despite the cold weather, Pearl Forest may be busier than usual. Universities in Hangzhou and universities in Magic City will have students training here for a period of time. In order to stagger each other at a certain time, Hangzhou TV University and other universities have made an agreement in advance, and each school has a designated timetable. Set a training deadline. Therefore, during the school's training camp, he would also go to the Pearl Forest for a few days to train. If Yang Yu still went to the Pearl Forest, he might bump into her while walking in the forest. Be safe when you go. Meteor Forest has the Elf Alliance Forest Safety Certification and is suitable for high-level trainers. This is not a problem for Yang Yu. Moreover, with Salted Fish King and Slow King around, Principal Jin Xiaodong naturally does not have to worry. But he was very curious as to why Yang Yu thought of going to Jiangdong Province. In fact, Yang Yu was also struggling at the beginning. After all, the road to becoming a trainer was still too short and he had never been to many places. This choice was made by Dai Dai with help. There needs to be a big body of water. There must be forests. It's best to have a place to live. Dai Dai immediately poked Yang Yu's shoulder, stretched out his finger, and used his superpower to make a pink-purple light bulb appear above his head. Ding! Ding! The light bulb is still on. He thought of a good place. Of course, Yang Yu nodded in agreement without hesitation. Then the target, Meteor Forest. On the high-speed train leading to Jiangdong Province, it is rare to see people riding flying elves in the sky. In winter, except in Nanhai Province and those southern provinces and cities in Guangdong Province, basically few people go to high altitudes to experience the real coldness, so most of the flight license assessment projects have been stopped. However, on land the driver's license assessment is still in full swing and enrollment is in full swing. Zhongyang City. Yang Yu came to the city that he had visited not long ago. As early as the National Day holiday, Yang Yu and Yang Xiao had visited the elf playground here in Zhongyang City. Recalling the scene in the Kirby bumper car and the haunted house, Yang Yu felt that the fun of the elf world was still endless. The warm environment in the high-speed train allowed the little dream demon to lie comfortably in the hair nest on Yang Yu's head and rest for a long time. However, as soon as he got off the high-speed train, the cold wind outside rushed over, making the little dream demon shivered for a while. Fortunately, the ghost-type elf itself has a strong ability to withstand the cold. The little dream demon was just angry that Yang Yu did not remind it of the sudden change in the environment. Okay, let's hold you. Yang Yu took the little guy off his head and held him in his arms. Of course, the little dream demon was very satisfied with Yang Yu's knowledge, so he found a comfortable position and lay down. During this trip to the Meteor Forest, Yang Yu not only hopes that his new partner Gyarados can improve his abilities, but also at least master the two moves of Shadow Clone and Salted Fish King's unique Salted Fish Stab. The intimidation of Salted Fish King the domain can lead the Gyarados. If it is surfing, the pressure gathered is extremely terrifying. This is just the Salty Fish King leading a Gyarados. After thinking about it, Yang Yu couldn't help but think of the scene that had appeared in his mind. Go. If it's in Summoner's Rift. It's probably like in the clone mode, where 5 furious night-clad, 5 men, or 5 veteran drivers start racing at the same time. However, 5 is not enough. Get rich first, lead others to get richer, and walk the road to prosperity together. Yang Yu shook his head and asked the Salted Fish King to start with simple moves to train Gyarados, so that the combat power of Gyarados could be greatly improved in this short period of time. By the way, the noise trick is not allowed to be taught. If he knew what Yang Yu was thinking, King Salted Fish would probably just hum in his heart. If he didn't come to teach about noise, should Yang Yu teach him? How can it be? At any rate, Salted Fish King was able to teach such an outstanding student as Xiao Xiao, turning the noise into a healing ringtone. But what about Yang Yu? That is the being who can forcibly teach singing into a song of destruction. This kid is so terrifying, we must not keep him. First go to the Elf Alliance here to take a look at the Move Learning Machine. The Move Learning Machines sold in the Elf Alliance in each province and city are different and have more or less their own characteristics. Just like the Super Tower and Ghost Tower in the Magic City, the type and number of Super and Ghost type Move Learning Machines in the Elf Alliance are more numerous than in other places. In Zhangxiang City in Jiangdong Province, the water system gymnasium is located, so in several nearby cities, the Elf's water system Move Learning Machine will have a wider variety. Water fluctuations, foam light, playing with water, and climbing waterfalls. In the Elf Alliance here, Yang Yu saw a very powerful physical move, which he had never seen in the high school branch of the Elf Alliance in the Demon City. This is the trick to climb the waterfall. It's a pity that I didn't teach you. Waterfall climbing is not a big improvement for Yang Yu at present. The Move Learning Machine that Yang Yu wants to find most now is the rain-seeking that can change the weather on the site. Whether it is for the Salted Fish King, Gyarados, or Dede, if there is a move that can maximize combat effectiveness in a short period of time, it must be praying for rain. Yang Yu continued to check the Move Learning Machines currently in stock in the Elf Alliance, and his eyes flickered slightly. Here he found a move that was very effective in the battle between elves. This was also a move that the Little Dream Monster had endured before when he was an exchange student. Electromagnetic waves. It can paralyze the opponent, reduce the opponent's speed, and have the opportunity to limit the opponent's moves. The move is very practical, but this move makes Yang Yu a little embarrassed. Electric ability. It would be very difficult for a water elf or ghost elf to convert the power of water and ghosts into the power of electricity through the conversion of abilities. After all, it is possible to be careless. I paralyzed myself with electricity. Would you like Salted Fish King or Little Dream Demon to try it? Keep going. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 292. Yang Yu finally purchased 3 electromagnetic wave move learning machines and an ordinary elf ball at once. As for why an ordinary elf ball is added, the Damn Elf Alliance actually held a discount event at the end of the year. If you purchase 90,000 elf coins, you can get a 50% discount. This makes learning an electromagnetic wave move worth 29,999 so embarrassing. Fortunately, no loss in this wave, profit in this wave, 95% off. Yang Yu curled his lips. A small place is just a small place, it doesn't even offer a kin of 3 yuan, it's not like a magic city, and it also has pleasant round-the-clock service. Yang Yu put the move learning machine and the elf ball into his backpack. When he walked out of the Elf Alliance, he was wondering if he had missed anything. After thinking about it, it seemed. No. If not, then keep going. Goo 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 goo. Yang Yu. What is this sound? Yang Yu lowered his head and looked, touched his stomach, and found that his stomach wasn't hungry. Gilug gilug. It felt like the arm holding the Little Dream Demon shook a few times. The Little Dream Demon pouted and patted her belly in Yang Yu's arms. On the first day after leaving Moo Milk, she missed it and wanted to drink it. Go get something to eat? Although Yang Yu was not very hungry, the weather outside was still a bit cold. He might have to go to the edge of the meteor forest later. It would be great to replenish his energy a little. Do you want to eat something? Alu. Dudu touched his chubby belly and licked the little tiger teeth with his tongue. He wanted to eat fish. Ding. Ding. The pink-purple super light bulb on Dudu's head popped out again. Whenever this little light bulb pops up, it means that a good idea or a good place has occurred to you. Yang Yu didn't know where he learned it from, but the results were great. Take us there. Yeah. He nodded blankly, drew a fish shape in the air with his fingertips, and then added a fragrant wavy line effect on the fish. Teleport. When Day brought Yang Yu to a lively place, Yang Yu's eyes widened. Because a store appeared in front of Yang Yu. The sign of this store. Hey. \U003C. Hashtag. Isn't this the fish that Data drew in the air before teleporting? There are also two wavy lines. Yedong. A big head poked out from the door of this grilled fish restaurant. The round ears, the big head, the eyes that seemed to be confused suddenly became bright, and behind the pink body, there was a large conch. Stay a hippopotamus. Yeah. Yeah boom. The owners of the grilled fish shop, Dai Hema and Dai Dai, were like friends they hadn't seen for a long time, high-fiving each other, and then Dai Hema pulled Dai Dai into the shop. Grrrrrrrrr. Dada waved to the dumbfounded Yang Yu and the little dream demon with two big eyes shining. Come in. The seats in the grilled fish restaurant were almost full, and the guests who were eating the delicious grilled fish all opened their eyes wide, looking at the dumb king with the golden conch cap on his head, and were stunned for a while. Yeah boom. The stupid hippo boss of the grilled fish restaurant knocked on the door of the chef inside. When the door opened, all the big eyes and heads turned around involuntarily as if they had agreed. Yeah boom. There was a chorus of grilled fish sounds in the kitchen. Yeah. Yang Yu took the little dream demon and followed Dai Dai, and with the help of Dai Hippo, the owner of the grilled fish shop, they entered the kitchen door. It feels the same as the hippo snack street. Yang Yu couldn't help but be speechless, looking at the neat pots and grilled fish utensils in the kitchen, as well as the neat hippos. This is simply like a hippopotamus grilled fish paradise. Almost at the same time, Yang Yu remembered what he saw about the super tower when he was at the high school branch of the Magic City Elf Alliance. In the super tower, aren't the people who provide super physiotherapy services a bunch of dumb hippos? The world of elves is magical and wonderful. When Dada strode past the hippo chefs in the kitchen one by one, these hippo chefs seemed to be inspected by the king. The grilled fish in the pot simultaneously exuded a rich fragrance, and each one was grilled with a golden appearance. The fish, under the golden outer layer, has white and tender fish meat that comes into contact with the splashing soup from time to time. At this moment, it becomes delicious. Yeah. Yeah boom. The silly hippo boss of the grilled fish restaurant told the silly hippo chefs that after the review, they can continue cooking grilled fish. The stupid hippo boss of the grilled fish restaurant immediately walked ahead and headed for the secret base under the kitchen. Fresh wet rocks, this is where the slowpoke hippos usually live. Beside the clean underground pool, there are also a few slowpoke beasts lying down thinking about what they are. The moment they saw Slowpoke appear, they all jumped from lying down. The state stood up straight. Yadong. Boss Slowpoke clapped his hands, and several Slowpoke beasts gathered together while pushing the stone benches and tables. After that, they continued back to the edge of the pool and lay down peacefully. Sis. At the steps, a hippo chef came down carrying a pot of grilled fish. Freshly baked hippopotamus grilled fish has the effect of warming the whole body in winter. The little dream monster had a rare appetite for fish. He was pulling Yang Yu's hair excitedly, as if he wanted to eat, and if he couldn't eat, he would pull out Yang Yu's hair. The little dream demon felt a little guilty in her heart. After all, little dream demon and little fish are good friends. At the arena of the Elf University of Electronic Science and Technology in Hangzhou, when Dada took the Salted Fish King and Gyarados to steal fish, the little dream demon was on the same side as the little fish. Eating fish is wrong. The fish is so cute, how can you eat it? Just now. Gilug gilug gilug. The little greedy thing in the little dream demon's stomach has been hooked out a long time ago. When he just stepped into the grilled fish shop, it was already about to float, flying with the aroma. If Yang Yu hadn't pulled it, the little dream demon is probably going to fly to someone else's grilled fish pot. Now. Ying 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 yang. If you want to eat, you must eat. The fish is so cute, add some oil, add some spices, grill it, it will be so delicious. Yeah. Dai Dai took Boss Dai Hippo and sat down together. Boss Dai Dai raised the conch cap on his back, the ordinary white conch cap, staring straight at the golden legendary conch cap on Dai Dai's head. When can I have sex once? Seeing Dai Dai and Boss Dai Hippo looking so happy, Yang Yu guessed why Dai Dai thought of coming here. This is the kingdom of stupidity. It says I'm hungry, please vote.